Hey everyone, I am coming to you with a special video. I want to share something very fun that I got in the mail and adding to my collection. Many of you guys may have heard me talk about not really collecting comics growing up, and that's true. I was never particularly into comics more than, novels where I could sit down and read, like word by word by word by word. Even though as an artist I do enjoy some of the art or a lot of the artwork in a lot of comics, I just never got into them as much. However, knowing the value of the original lore, aka Legends comics, and knowing that maybe one day they will never print them again, I am adding the comics to my collection. So I do have some new comics, and I'm going to go ahead and share, and then I plan on doing a lore video on these comics as well. I do have, a few of them. So Legacy, I think I have Clone Wars Volume 2. I'll go grab it right now. Maybe it's Volume 3, I'm not sure. And some more. So I'm going to go ahead and share that with you. I'm very excited. This is not a lore review. This is just a show and tell, I guess you could say, for my channel. For all of you guys that love the original EU and especially the comics. I don't want to alienate anybody by just only sharing all the lore through the novels. I want to share the comics and through the games as well. So enjoy. Get this better into view. I do have the Rebellion comic collection Volume 2. And I haven't necessarily gone through this one just yet. The next comic, or the last few comics I'm going to share into more so than these ones with reading. So let's just take a look real quick. So whether these comics are from Dark Horse or Marvel, Marvel is the one that Disney Lucasfilm is allowing to reprint these. And we do have, all the information of all the eras of the comic where they fall in right there and what they are reprinting. And then we have all the information here on like the inkers, the colorists, the assistant editors, all of this information here who are responsible for the comics, which me as an artist, I'm going to geek out on a lot, because looking into who did what, compare and contrast, I guess you can say, as my favorite words are, to each other, and and developing my own favorite comic editors, illustrators, and all this, so I can share with you guys. So this one, Volume 2, consists of all these stories here. Here's the numbers, or actually these are the page numbers, and here are the comic information here. So it starts with Star Wars number 13, and it also has the date here as well. And like 5 days of Sith part 1, and then it goes all the way through all these ones in order. But then it also goes all the way down to the Star Wars Kids comics here. And so the art really changes significantly from here, from the beginning of this collection all the way till the end. And that's because it goes into the kids comics, and it's like a very classical, like, illustration for the kids, I guess you can say, because we see a lot more detail into these. So we have these right here, very beautiful, all the way through, a bit consistent as well. And then we get into the kids one, and noted that if some Marvel comics in the early stages, in the early years, are S-canon when it comes to Legends, and as Marvel progressed and Dark Horse came in, they came more into the bigger part of the canonicity, I guess you can say, of the lore. So, and then here we go. We are getting into the children's comics right here. It's more simple, less details, more cartoonish, I guess you can say. So that's the difference here in this. And I haven't read through all the stories yet. I will, and I will do a review on this series as well. and give you guys my input, even on the art. I'm not going to do that right now. This is not what this is about, but I'm just getting you guys familiar with this if you guys don't know. And then towards the back, there's a lot of information as well. Like details here. We also have Star Wars Kids, the covers here. All this information. I think it's very neat. And then Star Wars Empire here. We have our princess there, Princess Leia, Darth Vader, Han, Luke, Chewie, all of them. The classic Rebellion heroes in the strippers in the back. So this is this comic here. Here's the back here, Vader's helmet. We have the TIE fighters, all of that. All right, so the next one is volume 1 of the original Marvel years. So here we go. So very, very classic. I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with this illustration here. I am even familiar with it, even though I'm not a big comic reader. I've seen this image a lot. And again, as with every one of these, there is your information here of the eras and stuff. You know, of course, the inkers and all that, the assistant editors, you know, all the information here that they're giving credit to with this. And then the order of the series beginning in volume 1, beginning with page 4, Star Wars, and that came out in July 1997, and it has the years all the way on here. Again, these are probably the ones that are, you know, was coined as canon at one point after the lore started expanding and canonicity or continuity was being created. So you could see the classic comic illustration here from back then. Very classical, very fun. So again, I'll be reading through these as well and giving my review. So again, I want to be able to provide information for the comic lovers of the lore. And I think this is really, really neat. You could see the differences between, you know, the illustration and the comics then and now. And I think it's just an awesome, you know, evolution of art even within the comic world. All right, I go all the way to the back. I love that. Look at that. There, look at. This is fun. I love this. And we have right here, let me see, where does this begin at? I just love the ending of these because I didn't read all of what this is about. I'm not going to try to read it upside down. But we do have all these little details and all this information and history, covers from back then. I really like how they comprised all of this. Hopefully you could see it. There you go. Our princess. Look at that. That's really nicely done right here. I don't know if you can see it clearly. Right there. I have my camera propped up, so if I need to, I could go like this. There we go. And then we have Yoda. Alright, so this is the beginning. I haven't got the rest of the series for this original Marvel Comic Years volume. There we go. So this is the one that possibly will be the first lore video I do. Oh, let me see my angle. There we go. Is the Legacy Comics. Many of you guys know already that my history with, you know, on the EU is that I came into it because of Luke Skywalker and wanting to follow his story. And so it leads up all the way to Legacy and Ghost or in Visions or Dreams or whatever you want to call that. And so we have each one of these. I have 1, 2, and 3 of this collection. And again, like I said, they're having Marvel reprints, even if they are from Dark Horse, because Dark Horse is no longer with Disney Lucasfilm, and I think that was a poor choice, but hey, it's their business call, just like them scrapping the original EU was their business call, and again, another poor choice. So let's get with volume 1 here. Again, this is not a lore review, this is just a show and tell. Okay, so here we go. So we have Legacy Volume 1, and then we have the Imperial Knights here. And if you're familiar with Jaina Solo, she married Jagged Fell, or Jag Fell, and the descendants of them in Legacy Comics, your Marcel Fell and her father and those related. Yeah, and so Jaina, what is so fun is that if you look at the history and her talking back and forth with Jagged Fell, he was telling, they were talking about which way are they going to go. Is he going to stay with her while she remains a Jedi, or once they get married, or she's going to go off with him in the Empire? So there's a lot of that back and forth, and even to the point of saying that maybe she'll be creating her own faction of Jedi. And so I thought that was very interesting, because in reality she basically does. Again, classical, let me bring this down a little bit more without it falling. Crap. Oh, I guess that's it. So again, we have the confirmation here. Again, sorry, it's going to be at an angle. The lever that keeps my camera up is not working and is not as tight as I need it. So we have the classic information here. Again, where, and this is missing basically who, it must be right here of who's responsible for these. All right, then we have the stories where it begins at, which, from the first comic all the way to the last one in this volume here. And it's interesting, this has the crawl. I really like that. Again, I'm not trying to do a full-on lore review. So we have this beautiful Legacy comic book here. And we all know that the Skywalkers here are Nat, Cole, and Cade. And so we have a generation or two missing between Ben Skywalker and Jaina Solo and their descendants here. So we have this right here. And this is the beginning of their story here. And he's in the embrace of pain. I thought that was very interesting because it ties back to, the Yuuzhan Vong, because they're in the story too as well. And it ties back to even Asherad Hep. He's in here as Darth Fate. We also have Bajera right here. They had Asherad too as well. Asherad or Asherad? The dad and the son's names are just slightly different, and I always say one over the other by accident, so I apologize if I said the wrong name. And then in the back, but I haven't fully read through every single little detail just yet. And so we start off again where it left off, and we are at Star Wars Legacy number 20. I can't read upside down very well, so I'm not going to try to do that. We begin with the scroll. I noticed that with this one, there's some dark pages here for whatever reason. Whether they feel like they didn't want the scroll to be behind and in front. That's what I'm getting. And beautiful illustrated art once again. So just again, I'm not reviewing this, so we're not going to go through this as a review. I just want to show and tell. So while we're looking at this, who is your favorite Legacy character? I know a lot of people like Cade. Beside Cade Skywalker, who else? If you're very familiar with the comics, who are your favorite characters? What's your favorite comic out of these series? Just go ahead and share in the comments below. Share with everybody. Do you like how Jaina's family factioned off, and she created a faction of the Jedi, basically? Let me share your thoughts on that as well. Do you like how Cade was developed as this unconventional Skywalker? That's what I'm calling him. He's unconventional, and how he came about. Do you like how Darth Krayt came about? You know, so all these questions, just go ahead and answer below in the comments below. So, and here we go. Oh, and then his the healing ability that he is gifted with through the Force. I thought that was very interesting, because to bring people back from near death, something that his ancestor Anakin Skywalker was hoping to do, and that makes how he uses it, depending on how he uses it, will determine if he like teeters onto the dark side as we see his eyes turn and all that. So again, you know, share your comments below in the in the comments section. So here we go. Just brushing through here. I just really like the art here, like the details. So let's go towards the back now. And again, there's another blank page, so I don't know if they did this on purpose or what's going on. So if you have this, let me know, because we do have the cover for the next comic right here. They could have easily put it right here and let it flow, but I don't know why they decided to do that, other than maybe because it opens up this way. I don't know. When I first seen it, I thought that it was a misprint or something. Like, here's another one. So if yours has this, let me know. If yours doesn't, let me know. Maybe it's a misprint, maybe not. So that's my question. And here we go. But it happens after every comic cover section, almost every comic cover section. So let me know. So again, we get back into the information page on who these characters are, the worlds, etc. We have Darth Talon here as well. We have Darth Krayt. So again, very informative, quick history of these characters. I really like that. You know, we have Chiss still involved. I mean, because the universe never, for George Lucas era, they never like ignored. Notice with Disney Lucasfilm, they are ignoring worlds that's been developed, and they are ignoring species that has been developed for the sake of them bringing in their new stuff. And I think they need to still give us, you know, information about the stuff that's already been established, like the worlds and the species, as well as expand on maybe some new worlds as they are expanding their galaxy now. So that's just my idea, that's just my take on that. Whether you agree or not, it's okay. And so again, so this is volume 2 of the series. You know, we have the Jean Vaughn, we have the Shaper here. Yeah, so, and then we have Luke Skywalker as a Force ghost. Again, there's no date on when he passed on and became a Force ghost. So we don't know exactly, because that we will never know when he dies. But we know by this time, of course, he's already gone and one with the Force here. And again, ships, all of that. And here's the back here. So this is one of volume 2 of the Clone Wars. I'm still building this collection. I thought I had got the Clone Wars one or started it, but obviously didn't. And then here's the back cover. We all recognize this face. All right, so for volume 3, I got in today, and so this is the reason why I am doing this, because I got so excited about this that I thought maybe I'll share a video. So volume 3 of Legacy, we have Cade in the front, along with different ships, starfighters, all that, and you could probably see the evolution of these starfighters and all, from, you know, the New Jedi Order era, you know, and all that. So that's what I like about Star Wars too, is you see the evolution of things. And that's what it's supposed to be, a part of world building. You need to see the evolution of things. So again, all your basic information, and then your index here, or whatever that's called here. I probably got that wrong. I apologize. And so we have the one where it's left off at, all the way to number 6, it says. Yeah. Oh yeah, and they do have the dates as well. And again, the crawl. We have Cade, the twin sons. So this is very interesting because we do have the twin sons, you know, series here, and he does go to the Lars homestead as well. So that's very interesting. Really like that, and I thought this was very interesting too, because this is part of his dream or vision, or whatever you want to call it. So this is a very, I think this is an epic picture, because we have the descendants right here in his dream, him trying to find his place. And I think what's funny is that he's trying to find he's finding his place as a Jedi, as a Skywalker. And we do see that with Rey, who really is a Palpatine. And I think this is a much better story arc than we've seen in the Disney trilogy or sequel trilogy. So that's just my opinion. But he's trying to find his place as a Skywalker, as a Jedi, and his father killed, you know, and so he has a lot of stuff going on, and he even says, I don't want to be involved, you know. And so it's very fascinating, and I won't go further on that. We'll talk about this more once the review comes on. Maybe I'll do a live review where we can discuss it, interaction review about these. So we have, again, I thought this was funny. I was like, oh, they're in Hawaii, you know, but we'll talk about that later. And then, you know, the story starts developing more. Again, I like the art. Goodness. And we all know what happens, and what eventually happens. And so let's get into that point here. And here we go. So we're coming to the end, the conclusion of this comic here, and I'm very pleased with my decision on getting them and start building my collection with the comics as well. And look at that. And I can't wait to review them, because there's a lot of heaviness in here. There's a lot of lore in here. There's a lot. I mean, it's a very thick, compelling story. I guess you could say thick. You know, like the emotions, the weight of it, how even Cade feels about everything, how he's this bad boy who doesn't want nothing to do with being the next hero to the loss of his father. You know, and yeah. And then this one here is very interesting. It has like all the I guess you could say, it says alien language glossary, but this is also what I would call slang that they use all the time as well. And it's a lot. There's a lot of that in the book, because we have languages that the lore was created through the lore, which I love as well. And then we have this epic collage. I'll show you. And I've used this collage before for some of my thumbnails for my channel. And back here tells you who is what, like who it is, you know, what, and it has their name, so you can follow that. And then of course the Star Wars Rebellion Volume 4, just a little advertisement spot for that to collect. And again, that epic picture of Luke Skywalker and Cade dueling in Cade's vision or dream, or whatever you want to call it. So there you go. These are the comics that I got so far, besides the Luke Skywalker one, the one that has all the Luke Skywalker stories. Thank you again for watching. I appreciate it, and you know, hanging out with me for about 20 minutes, going over, exploring these comics, and my thrill of collecting them now, especially the arts and, you know, everything that's beautiful about these, the story, everything. Thank you for hanging out. I don't mind the Legends banner because it shows Disney, Lucasfilm, where I prefer the lore, like which lore. I like the original lore, so it's right here. So please share below, you know, again, you know, who you like, what comics you like, all of that. Just, you know, let's create a conversation about these, and stay tuned. I will be having some more videos coming out on the comics as well. So thank you again. May the Force be with you.